And that was the intro to one of my favorite Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 7, which is somehow 6 years old today. When Resident Evil 7 came out, it terrified me. I didn't even want to be in the same room as one of my parents playing it. But when Resident Evil 2 came out, became a huge fan, and I have since gone back and beaten them all hundreds of times. Not hundreds, but I've beaten them a bunch of times, and I've gotten all the rewards. I've beaten them all on the hardest difficulty. I've gone back and played the original 1, 2, and 3. I've played most of the Resident Evil games besides like some of the weird spin-offs like Gun Survivor and Gaiden, but I know of them. In fact, I've actually played Gaiden, and it was not good. The Resident Evil Gun Survivor, though, and Gun Survivor 2, I have not gotten a chance to play them because I do not have a way to play them. Anyway, this video is not a history of all the Resident Evil games I have and have not played. It is about Resident Evil 7 and how I think it has aged incredibly and how it ushered in a new era of Resident Evil. Resident Evil 7 holds up incredibly well. The footage you're seeing is of PC gameplay footage of my own, but even on PS4, it still doesn't look that bad, and on PS5, it looks on par with the PC version. So it still holds up incredibly well. Capcom did a fantastic job. This video's main structure is going to be a quick recap of the story, how I feel about it, and just overall general things that I think it did well. Resident Evil 7 begins with Ethan Winters getting a video email from his wife Mia Winters. 2 videos, one which is her being like happy and like saying how much like she misses him and that she can't wait to be done with her job so she can come home and see Ethan, and the other one is much more panicked and distressed because she's panicking because she's saying that she apologized to Ethan and that she shouldn't have lied and he was right, except we will not find out what she lied about until much later in the game.
You were right. I did lie to you. I shouldn't have. All I can say is that if you get this, stay away.
And with that, Ethan, being a video game protagonist, completely ignores the warning his wife gave him and immediately goes to Dovey, Louisiana, where she said to stay away from, so he can go and figure out why she disappeared for so long. Ethan arrives at the Baker property, probably in like the late afternoon, doesn't really matter, but the sunlight he has will be the last sunlight he sees for the entirety of the game until the very end. Ethan tries the intercom to no avail. He tries to just open up the gates, but they're chained shut, so he finds a back route to take, and he takes that one. While Ethan is traveling this back road to try to get into the property, a man passes by him, but he disappears before Ethan can catch up to him, and when Ethan gets to where he is, the man is nowhere to be seen. Ethan keeps traveling this path until he finds something that would make any normal person say,
"Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out." Nope.
But Ethan, being a fucking psychopath, doesn't take this as a sign to stop and call the cops and then figure out what happens. He just trudges forward like he just didn't find a bunch of mutilated cow legs hanging by saw blades. And Ethan jumps off this little hill and finds Mia's purse and her license in her purse in a burning pit, and still doesn't take this as a sign to call the cops. Ethan makes his way into the guest house and the door locks behind him, so now he's stuck in here and cannot get out.
Damn.
Ethan makes his way up to the second floor where he finds a VHS tape containing a video that's made by the Sewer Gators, which is kind of like a YouTube haunted house like exploration group, but regardless, spoilers, it does not end well for them, as you will see in a couple minutes. Essentially, what this video tape is Andre, the guy on the left, Peter, the guy on the right, and Clancy, the player / cameraman. They break into the Baker guest house, and when they break in, they pretty much just go exploring because it's supposedly haunted while talking about the Baker family, and all is fine for the first, like, 2 2 minutes. And then Andre goes missing, and once Andre goes missing, Peter and Clancy go find him, and they go into the living room. Peter finds a trapdoor chain, which he pulls. It opens the trapdoor into the side of the wall, which they go under, and they find a ladder leading down to the basement. Clancy goes down because Peter chickens out, and he finds Andre up against a pipe that is going through his mouth to the back of his neck, and he's dead on the pipe. Ethan sees somebody literally get murdered and just goes, yep, gonna go down there, and he pulls the chain and ends up going down to the basement, where he ends up meeting Andre in the water. Ethan just casually moves past the dead body, but on the plus side, he finds Mia in a cell, so at least she's alive, which is good.
Oh, thank God I found you. It's me. It's Ethan.
Ethan? Ethan?
Are you alright?
You shouldn't be here.
What do you mean? You contacted me.
No, I wouldn't. Did I? Did anyone see you? Did he see you?
Hey, who else is here? What the hell's going on?
Daddy's coming. We need to go.
Daddy?
We need to go now!
Mia seems to either have amnesia or just can't remember, but she swears up and down that she did not send that message and that Daddy, whoever that is coming to come find them. So Mia quickly leads Ethan and herself out of the basement upstairs to the first floor of the guest house behind a door that was locked the first time. Mia leads Ethan and herself into this room, and she swears that there used to be a door here, but now there's not. So she panics, and as you go searching in the back room, she gets dragged through the wall because there is a loud crash. She screams, and then there's a giant hole in the wall, and Mia's not there anymore. And Ethan has to go searching for her, but he finds her relatively shortly afterwards, but not in the same way that he did when he found her in the cell. Ethan goes upstairs, and after hearing some banging coming from downstairs, he goes down to the door to investigate it and finds this.
Mia? Wait! Wait!
So Mia is clearly not okay, and this is only the first of 4 attacks from her, which get worse and worse as it goes on. The second attack happens after Ethan heals himself and picks up the phone. He walks over to Mia, and she springs to life, throws him through a wall, and tries to start stabbing him with the knife again, where Ethan then has to take an axe and drive it through her neck. Ethan clearly feels bad, upset, and confused at the fact he had to pretty much just kill his wife, but he was also probably just running on pure adrenaline and fight or flight because he just got thrown through a wall, and before that he was just stabbed like 40 times. So we see his reaction, but then he gets attacked a third time, this one where he does not get a chance to fight back. I'll just let this unfold.
No, you didn't mean to hurt me. shouldn't have done that! It fucking hurts! Ah! Now, let's see what you feel. It's not just must contain outbreak. Gonna quit, I promise. Must burn it all down.
So yeah, Ethan just got his hand chainsawed off. He goes over and picks up his hand and then makes his way up to the attic. Once he makes his way up to the attic, he finds a 1911, some first aid, and some ammunition.
Okay.
Finally, he has the upper hand. He gets in the fourth and final fight with Mia, but for once, the odds are in his favor because she has a chainsaw, but he has a gun. The fight has a bit of a heartbreaking ending with Mia saying I love you, meaning that she is clearly still there, but there is something wrong with her, but Ethan doesn't really react anymore as shocked and scared as he was the first time, just because he knows that Mia is not actually dead, because he drove an axe to her neck earlier and she didn't die. And then we get to the infamous scene of
Welcome to the family, son.
Come on. Don't you die on us now. You have work to do.
Ethan gets his hand stapled on, because I guess you can just staple a hand on and it works again. Anyway, we get to the dinner scene, which any Resident Evil player, or anybody that has any interest, or anybody that was on YouTube in January of 2017 had saw, which is just, in my opinion, one of the greatest scenes in a Resident Evil game that I have ever seen. It shows you all the main antagonists of the game, and shows how they react to one another
Where's Mia?
in a perfect way that I'll just let play out so you can see it for yourself.
Eat it. It's good.
Dumb son bitch wasn't no good if it hit him.
Yes.
Not again.
Get out the way, Margaret.
Hit boy's got to eat. He got to have his supper. Come here, boy.
Shit, oh shit, he's not eating it, Jack! He's not eating it!
Get the hell up,
I
Marguerite.
made that for him!
Get the hell out of here.
You're a son of a bitch! Oh, I can't believe it, you son of a bitch! He's not eating it! He's not eating it!
This was supposed to be a very special feast. No, boy.
God damn it! I bet it's that cop again.
Goddamn pigs. I'm coming back for you.
After that point in the game, it becomes just your typical Resident Evil game, you know, killing enemies, surviving, opening doors. So I'll just do a quick montage of said things, and then I will move on to, like, the things that I liked about it, because I'm going to sum up the end with the final boss fight being shown. There is a section with Mia that I will sum up very quickly because it's honestly just for her backstory, so you can figure out what she's all about, because she did not have a main character role in this game as it's Ethan, but she is the main driving force, so I'm just going to sum up her section really fast. Mia's section pretty much revolves around you being on a labyrinth of a boat because there are so many puzzles and it is fantastic. I used to not like it, but I now in later playthroughs thoroughly enjoy it because it's a lot of fun going back to having like little to no ammo and just having to run around enemies and try to survive, versus by the end of the game with Ethan you're stocked up on shotgun shells, pistol bullets, grenade launcher rounds. It just strips everything back and it's awesome. But essentially her section is figuring out what she did and why she lied to Ethan. And her lie to Ethan is, big spoilers, she is pretty much a domestic terrorist, and the fact that she works for a company known about the connections. Even with the 7th game being out and the 8th game being out, not a lot is known about the connections, except they are a rival organization, and they're kind of like Umbrella, where they pretty much get a bioweapon and sell it to the highest bidder. And that's what Mia's job was, is she had Evelyn, which was the little girl that turned the bakers evil because they weren't always like that, and pretty much Evelyn got loose, and Mia's job was to make sure that didn't happen, and she pretty much failed at that pretty miserably. And then Evelyn and the ship and Mia had all washed up near the Baker house, and Jack had rescued them, and Evelyn had taken over the Baker family. So Mia's whole section is trying to figure out her backstory and finding out that she is pretty much a secret agent for the connections. The majority of Mia's section is played through one of the videotapes that you find throughout the game, just known as Old Tape, and it's pretty much the events that take place in 2014, and it's everything that leads up to Mia showing up at the Baker house, from the ship crashing to Evelyn taking over the Bakers and all that kind of stuff. And it's very interesting to see, and it's honestly just a lot of fun. And it's one of my favorite sections because it proves that Mia isn't just a damsel in distress. She can actually handle herself, and she knows her way around a good few firearms, like a P19 machine gun and a handgun that you find in the same level. And that she is not just the, oh, go save the princess type, is that she will fight back, and she does fight back. The last thing that you find out on the boat is that the video that Mia had recorded for Ethan at the start, with Mia saying you were right, I shouldn't have lied to you and all that, that's actually being filmed in 2014, and it was only sent to him in 2017 because it happens during the old tape.
Is that if you get this, stay away. Forget that you ever knew me. Have a good life.
The tanker exploding is what leads up to it washing up near the Baker's house in the bayou, and that's really the last thing that's really worth noting, and the fact that Mia saves Ethan on it. After that, you finish up the boat section, Mia saves Ethan, and you get this really touching scene with Jack where you see him where he's completely normal.
Ethan? Hey, shh, I know. I'm not gonna hurt you. Hell, I never would have if I could have helped you.
What do you mean?
I'm no killer, son. Neither is Marguerite, nor my boy Lucas, or even Zoe here. That girl, Evelyn, she did this.
What the hell is she? No, what did she do to you?
She infected us with her gift. That's what she calls it. I found her near a busted out tanker in the bayou. Everything changed after that.
So she infects you and then she takes control?
No. Not exactly, son. She just... she forces her way into your mind, your soul. You can't fight back. You are connected to her, and you can't resist the urge to... Oh, you're a different person after that.
Just like Mia. So Mia sent me that message because of Evelyn.
Listen, The girl just wants a family of her own. She's the key. All right? You find her and you stop her. Ethan, free my family. Please.
With that really touching scene where you see Jack completely normal and you see him just as a regular person and that he's not really a monster, and he asks Ethan to free his family, that's exactly what Ethan does. He then fights through hell and he makes his way to Evelyn and he stops her, killing her, freeing Mia and the rest of the Bakers. Unfortunately though, the Bakers are dead, so they were not able to survive and they are victims of Evelyn, but Evelyn is not able to hurt anyone after that point. Ethan defeats Evelyn in her mutated form, and we get a cameo from a fan favorite Resident Evil character, that being Chris Redfield, and he's here to clean up everything because there's one last surviving Baker member who is actually psychotic, and that's Lucas, and Chris goes in there to stop everything. If you want me to make a video on that, let me know and I will, but for now we're just focusing on the main game. Pretty much, Chris saves Ethan after Evelyn's dead, and he airlifts him away, and that's the end of the story.
I'm Redfield. I'm glad we found you.
The fuck took you guys so long?
Ethan?
Mia. You made it. I'm glad.
Did I?
They say that when one door closes, another opens. Well, a door closed tonight. And what a long night it was. But not just for me. Mia and I weren't the only victims here. So were the Bakers. It was that thing, Evelyn, who made them that way. But now Evelyn's dead. And these guys are here to clean up the mess. I had just come to terms with losing Mia. But now she's back and wants to start over. Put all this behind us. Maybe this is where the next door opens.
And with that, that is the story of Resident Evil 7. I'm just going to quickly sum up my thoughts. I think this game is incredible. It holds up incredibly well today, and I just love the overall atmosphere of the game. That's one of my favorite things, is the atmosphere and the weapons. In the past Resident Evil games, being 4, 5, and 6, a lot of the weapons got kind of crazy. Resident Evil 4, there was the infinite ammo rocket launcher, but that's not overly crazy, that's been in all of them. But then there was the PLR 412, which was like a laser weapon that would kill any enemy that had the Plagas enemy, which that was all enemies in Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 5 had its fair share of crazy weapons, and Resident Evil 6 is Resident Evil 6. I've said my thoughts on that before, and there's a lot of weapons in that are just assault rifles and fast shooting weapons. And this, it strips it back to just basic handguns and pistols. There's also 2 shotguns, but they seem to be like hunting shotguns, one of them being a double barrel and the other one being a pump action shotgun, which would make sense because they seem to be like hunting style weapons, which would be common, I would assume, in a Louisiana house in the bayou. There is a flamethrower, but you look at it and you can tell it's homemade. Same thing with the grenade launcher. The only slightly militaristic sized weapon is a machine gun, but it's a normal machine gun. It's nothing crazy. After Ethan finally defeats Evelyn in her mutated form, we get a cameo from a fan favorite Resident Evil character, Chris Redfield, the same Chris Redfield that got in a fist fight with a boulder and won, except he looks a little different this way around, but he gets Mia and Ethan airlifted, and that's the end of the story.